Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Beacons Are Lit, a Lord of the Rings podcast. This one covering The Rings of Power, Season 1, Episode 5, titled Partings. I'm the host, Mike Marbach, and today I'm joined by Matt Garin.
Hey there.
Stacy Lyons.
What's up?
And Kelly Conrad.
Hello.
Yes, the Fellowship is here once again to discuss Lord of the Rings material, particularly this Amazon Prime series, The Rings of Power. Season 1, Episode 5, Partings. As I've said, before we get to that, though, I do want to mention last week, someone heeded the call, answered the call, and gave us a review. This week, we lit the beacons, we sent out the ravens, and got nothing. So it's looking pretty good for our lone reviewer in getting that Lord of the Rings shirt at the end of this season. So if you don't want that person to win, or you want to decrease the odds they do and enter yourself, just go to iTunes and rate and review the podcast. Let us know what you think. And you can also email us your thoughts at beacons@xroadscomedy.com. Let us know what
Mike,
you're thinking.
We've gotten a couple unofficial reviews. An email, some texts. Do those count?
Yes. Any form of reaching out, any form of communication. At this point, anything is acceptable because we've gotten so very little.
Come on, Rohan. Answer the call. Answer the call.
All right. One quick news from the mark, and that is that season 2, which is official, it's going to happen, is going back to New Zealand, at least for a bit.
Oh, that's good.
It was thought that they were done, but apparently not. So there will be some New Zealand in season 2 of The Rings of Power.
Oh,
yeah, and we've been seeing it throughout the series so far. So it would be weird if they just like, okay, now this is that place. And they're recasting the locations. It's a little weird.
They wouldn't go through that much trouble. They just CG it.
Yeah, it's now on a studio lot. It's like, is that the Seinfeld set back there? It's Numenor. What's the deal?
And that's the fountain where the friends play in, and also where the stranger hit.
Yeah. All right. First impressions of season 1, episode 5, Partings. Matt, keep it quick.
Yeah, super quick. I think a lot of the same weaknesses are still there, but this maybe did have some of the best scenes in the show so far, and therefore might be my favorite episode.
He
says as he smokes his pipe. Kelly, first impression.
Keep it short. I'm not doing a very good job. I liked parts of it. I hated parts of it. I thought there were a lot of pacing issues and stalling in this episode. But agreed with Matt that there were some really good parts.
Oh, Stacy.
I appreciated how in this episode I felt like things were really kind of coming together. I think they kind of really pieced a few critical things together for me, where I feel like, okay, I can see some cohesion now in the show. And I think it's just going to be on the up and up from here. I hope, optimistically, I hope.
Yeah. Overall, I liked the episode. Still don't know what the hell is going on with the Numenorian army. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Really enjoyed the Arendir Southlands stuff. And I'll leave it at that. I did enjoy the episode overall. Not without its faults. All right. So we're going to start with Numenor once again. So
what the fuck's up with their army?
Guys, I think you're saying it wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's Numenor.
Yes. For real though, what is up? What's the deal with the Numenorian army? That's what I like to know.
Is the size of it, like how it, or what are we critiquing?
It's supposed to like that the quote unquote epic send-off of them sending a bunch of villagers on 3 ships. It's like and there's supposed to be 500 men, and then they lost the ship. So either they're all squeezing in under deck, because it looked like there was maybe like 75 people across those three ships. And I don't see this being the great army. So it seems like they're all going to go to Middle Earth and get their fucking asses kicked, like immediately.
Well, not only are there so few of them, but they were like volunteers. So it's like they're not even soldiers.
It was like a volunteer and also like a lottery process, right? Because the Sealder didn't get in the first time. And so they just took like their best volunteers and then somehow had the army and uniforms to outfit them all, which I imagine this took place in a very short period of time, like a day, 2 days. What do we think? From the time they volunteer to the time they're shipping out. I don't know where they came up with these outfits.
I think everything in this show so far, we should assume, is over longer periods of time.
I absolutely don't assume that. I'm pretty sure it was 24 hours.
I'm kind of with you. It doesn't feel like long stretches of time.
Oh, no, it doesn't feel like that at all. I'm saying that it probably is. But they're just not doing a great job of showing the passage of time here. But they also could have had a great Numenorian army, and they're just like, we have all of this stuff. I mean, it's a huge place, so it's quite possible they had a lot of things just laying around, and they just had the Disney Quick Taller. I don't know.
They have some kind of guild, armor guild.
Who needs a large? Who needs a medium? Who needs more horse hair? Who needs less horse hair?
Galadriel's outfit would take like months to make her suit of armor by the end. It fit her perfectly. It was definitely tailored for. It was just laying around some elven.
Yeah, they got a ton of people, a ton of guilds. I can see them doing this in fairly quick order. If it was in fairly quick order, I just think that more time has passed than we're probably realizing.
You're probably right. But yeah, like why is it 3 ships? Like it doesn't feel epic. You're totally right. I'm with you.
The music was grand. The
music was so grand.
Were beautiful.
Exactly.
But the content, like what it was trying to tell us, didn't match. So I feel like they're just leading them to destruction.
Also, like, is it supposed to be that grand of an army? Like Isildur's father, Elendil said, like they got more volunteers than they wanted to take in the first place. So they're not sending everyone who wants to go. And I think it's not even like,
is it a recon?
Is this supposed to be the Great Numenorian Army? Because aren't they just doing this to establish this king as king and get the Southlanders to make an army? You know what I mean? Like, does it even need to be that big? But you're right. They're treating it like this is like the grandest thing that's happened in a while. And I don't.
It's more shocking to me that there just isn't an army reserve to begin with. Like, why do they need to take volunteers anyway? This like grand place. That's what doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why don't you already have an army?
Yeah, it could be the fact that it's for an elf.
Sure.
A lot of this is at the urging of Galadriel. So maybe there's like another one of those faith king kind of conflicts there. And it could be the case that maybe the army itself is there. They're just not involved in things just yet. And this is, like Stacey was saying, was an expedition and not so much an invasion kind of thing. I'm sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, I think that is the case, because I think the Queen Regent, like in her speech last episode, was like something to the effect of like, I wouldn't ask any of you to go on wage a battle that I wouldn't wage myself, and so I am going, and who will come with me? And so I think it was like her decision to make it a voluntary expedition, which makes sense. It's also more reasonable because she is also to risk only, I mean, 500 lives, still so many, but I guess it could be more. But like they're going at the behest of Galadriel, who is like making so many assumptions about Halbrand and who he is, and none of it's backed up. And they don't even talk to Halbrand before, like, yeah, we're going to war and I'm asking for volunteers. I'm like,
he's actively saying no in front of the queen, and Galadriel's literally like, shh.
It's crazy.
Like covering his mouth.
Mama knows best.
I'm like, Queen, I'm sorry, Queen, you didn't go to Halbrand before being like, I'm gonna go to war, who's coming with me? And just like check, just like, hey, Galadriel says you're the king of the Southlands and a decent person. Are you? Like, have that conversation first. You know?
And we learned in this episode that he actively sold her out.
Right.
He went and said, hey, just so you know, Galadriel's on this mission to do this thing. So she's going to go over your head, talk to your dad, kind of sneak on up. That's why she was there in the first place, which also got him his guild crest, which is why he can now do some sword forging.
Right.
So everything, it's ridiculous.
Though, right? They just talked about that.
Yeah, they talked about it.
Okay.
I kind of love how in most shows, it's a lot of men making hasty decisions and not listening to the women. And in this show, it's a lot of women making these hasty decisions, not listening to the men. I really like that representation. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
It feels like equality is what it is.
Yeah, poor decisions is not limited to any gender. Halbrand, he's a good forger. Looked like a pretty good sword.
Yeah, too good.
A little too good. I would say. Yeah. We definitely playing that Sauron game with him once again. We're playing it with Adar again. Yeah. And even
I keep thinking I thought about that a lot this episode because they were really leaning into like his past and his conversation with Galadriel and him forging things. But if he's Sauron, this whole episode feels like a waste of time. I loved the dialogue between him and Galadriel and his reluctance to go and his reluctance to be this king and him leaving his necklace with, and I love that. I love a reluctant leader. And if he's really Sauron and his whole point is to go there and this is all like a game, I'm like, that like negates all of this and I don't like it as much.
Yeah. This is skipping to the end of his storyline, where it's one of the most annoying parts of this episode to me, which there are several. When he has that sigil, his little like coin purse, whatever the fuck this thing is, that he carries around.
A necklace, Mike.
Yeah, his little coin purse.
His necklace purse.
His neck.
A brooch.
And he's sitting in the room. He throws it on the counter. And then they're like, the queen will see you. And then he's like, oh, am I going to go or not? Then he goes, and then they have that dramatic, and he grabs it again. But it was like so quick. It would have made much more sense if it was sitting there. We didn't see him playing with it or doing anything. And as he's leaving, they kind of do that zoom in, and he grabs it. It's just the way that it was edited and set up was really annoying to me because it undercut itself.
Yeah, they do that again in another plot line, which I'll call out later too. Yeah, there's a couple of just like setting it up and then just hitting it real quick. It's like, okay, well, I'm
curious now. What was the other one?
I think it was the setup of like those hog dogs chasing the Harfoots. Like we see the footprints, and then like 3 seconds later, it's like, here they are. Like we barely like built that tension up at all. Wasn't as quick, but it was just another example of like not really living, like setting something up and just delivering it on it too quick.
How'd you feel about the training?
Galadriel jumping in and training the noobs, the volunteers. It was I don't know, like I could tell it was like, all right, we just gotta like get some action in here and show Galadriel like doing some cool stuff. But it wasn't terrible. It was kind of fun. I liked seeing her dodge the swords. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've seen people online absolutely ripping this scene apart for how cliche it is, for the choreography of it. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Listen,
it was fun.
There's always going to be some sword psychos critiquing.
Well, I heard that someone brought up this point. This guy on YouTube, I think his channel is called like Nerd of the Rings, and he was saying they hate training montages like this because if one thing goes wrong, the like protagonist of the series is dead. Like and I'm like, I never thought about it that way, but I don't think about Galadriel in that way because Galadriel is basically like a god. So I'm like, yeah, I watched this knowing she's gonna be fine. I don't actually ever think
Yeah.
she's gonna be harmed.
There's no
But I thought it
danger.
was fun.
They're
It
saying
was,
someone might accidentally kill her in a training montage.
no, they're saying that if someone did, then she'd be dead.
So it's
Yeah, but I think
unrealistic.
okay, whatever. I had two problems with it. And one was that it happened primarily in like shops, like they were like in stores, and
like
I
a
get that
merchandise.
they were like using those things to sword fight, but I couldn't see some of it. And then she like killed that guy, quote unquote, like 7 times, and still he got promoted to lieutenant. Like I thought it was going to be one of those things where it was like whoever can draw blood, and she like put her sword to him and she's like, you're out, and someone else is going to pop it, you know what?
Yeah.
But he got a lot of chances, and I
initially thought it was going to be all of them attack her at once, which would have been really cool. But yeah, I'm with
yeah. I don't get why he got so many chances to make lieutenant.
You're out.
Yeah,
Come
you're
out
out.
like the Nazgul
Yeah.
on Weathertop.
Yeah.
Maybe his persistence is what she liked.
It's also it is super cliched. It is also one of the funniest cliches too, because it is like you're not training them, you're not helping, you're just kind of showing off.
She's lecturing as she does it. Yeah. And ruined her sweater.
Her sweater.
Her cardigan. It's chilly in Numenor.
Her crew neck.
What about
she could have just I actually would have liked more her giving like a speech to them about the orcs, and like then we could have like really like used dialogue to build tension of like this is what you're about to face. You know what I mean? Like how Aragorn is kind of like remember how Aragorn is kind of like shouting to his men before Helm's Deep, and he's like, show them no mercy, they will show you none, like that kind of like when you know they're coming and it's going to happen, like let's learn. I don't know, I guess
I wish it was more of just like a training montage, because that's like just such an easy way to build that like epic moment when they're leaving versus like Galadriel just showing off and clearly like gonna win the situation. It's like, just give us a training montage.
Yeah, they should have brought Sam Raimi in just for the training montage. Just for that. Because that's
what a dream.
So well. So well. I was gonna say, what about how you feeling about Kevin?
Kemen.
I said it, yeah.
I think I was saying Kevin last episode.
Kevin. What are we doing with Kevin?
Kevin is such a chode. I can't stand Kevin.
What a fucking chode. Get out of here,
dude.
Kevin.
Get out of here, chode.
What a waste of fucking screen time this plot is. I had
such high hopes for him and Arian, and this episode just immediately shot that to
goes
death.
to blow up the ships and fucks it up. Theodore is there being a stowaway. He's like ready to blow it up in here. Someone's here. Yeah, and then they get into it, and he ends up burning it anyway. And somehow, neither of them turn each other in. Like it was just a weird way. Like, oh, I saved him. It blew up on its own. There was somebody that was over there, and they got away. It's kind of funky the way that happened.
Yeah, how would no one be like, you two did this? You two blew up these ships. Like, you smell like gasoline. Where's your cloak? You clearly did this.
Was it gasoline or was it like
I have no idea. Lighter fluid? I don't know what it was.
Ale.
I thought for sure it was going to be like Kemen was going to be like he did it.
Absolutely.
A seal door or something.
That would have been the more interesting choice.
But again, this show just like the dwarves in the last episode, and then they're all fine. Like we just keep setting up this peril, and then it's just like, no, it's okay. Nothing really happens. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, it's all just getting us to the next.
It's so weird.
It was like jarringly abrupt how quickly that conflict ended. Like even Isildur's father like looked at him like, this is suspicious, and then didn't say anything, even though 2 ships exploded.
And then he's gonna give him a spot on a boat for saving Kemen's life.
Also, like it it took no time for Isildur to swim both of them back to the docks. It took, I'm like, that's
they're island people, they're sea people, they're horse people.
Island boys.
they're island boys. They swim like little fishies.
Yeah.
They can swim.
And he was doing this because Aarion is not about this war. She doesn't want to have anybody to have anything to do with it at all. And Kemen is like, yeah, well, you said, I'll do whatever you want. So they go to Farazan, and Farazan's like, just leave me the fuck alone. Just stop. What are you doing? And he schools him on why he's okay with this. And his deal is that we are going to take this guy to the Southlands. We're going to make him king, and he will be indebted to, indebted to us. And we will establish colonies there, because apparently right now they don't have any outposts, Numenorian outposts in Middle Earth. So then they can get this, that, and the other thing, and trade and all that. So
that was
Kemen,
cool. I liked that.
attention.
I was like, that makes sense, and it gives like the Numenorians who are in like the Lord of the Rings this like grand people, ancestors, gives the Numenorians a little bit of like a dark side. It's like, oh no, they weren't doing it just out of the goodness of their heart. There's an element that's just.
I don't even think that's a dark side. It just sounds like good economics. Like, I don't think that should be, that shouldn't even be a secret. Gotcha. They should literally just be like, you can be king and we'd like to trade with you in the future. And he could be like, yeah, sure. Like, this just feels like it doesn't need to be a seedy under the table
this
thing.
backdoor sort of deal.
It's literally just trading. Like,
oh, and by the way, when you're king, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, I don't know. There is an element of, I don't know. There's an element of like, I guess, in a certain sense, because they're killing orcs who are inherently bad and evil in this universe, and so it's okay for them to like have some land and make an outpost. But there is also like a colonialist and empire element to it, where it's just like, oh, so you're just gonna go over there and exploit the resources so that your people can take them back.
Yeah, that's what that's one thing that's true to the books that the Numenorians did.
Yeah,
they had constant battles with the men over there. All right. Tar Palantir warns the queen, if you go there, not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good. I see nothing but darkness.
I don't get all these scenes with her dad. Like, I understand them. It's it just feels random and weird.
You've heard talk for the first time this episode, right? I don't remember.
Yeah. Like, besides some groaning.
Yeah, and he was given all this weight of like, oh wow, this is like an emotional moment, or we should like take this guy serious. And I'm like, I don't know this dude.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like seeing visions or if he's just doesn't like it or what. I don't get his
he's
deal.
seeing visions.
Why does he have the power to see visions? Who is he?
He asked very nicely.
He said, please.
Yeah.
The queen has
his name itself is Palantir, which one of the breakdowns was like, I mean, we know the Palantirs are seeing stones. So it means something along the seeing, far-sighted, I think it was one of the breakdowns I saw. And one of the things, and I, to my own credit, not that I can prove any of this, the breakdown talks about the darkness that he's talking about is probably Mount Doom exploding, erupting. And that is the darkness that is also what Adar is talking about. That he talks about the sun going away. The sun's not literally going to go away. It's going to be blocked out, most likely by the first eruption of Mount Doom, making it easier for the orcs to come above, transform the Southlands into their modern day Mordor.
There's a lot of prophecies in this show throughout, and a lot of people are very certain of their prophecies, and a lot of the decisions that are being made by the characters around them are based on this certainty that's hard to share with some of these people, the elves, the Numenorians. Although I kind of believe the elves. We'll get to the elf stuff though.
Yeah. We have the queen. After the explosion, the queen was wavering, and they're just like, well, we still got 3 ships. We'll reconvene in the morning. I'm not going to make a decision right now. We'll reconvene in the morning, talk about this, but Halbrand better be there.
Bring Halbrand.
Yeah. This all hinges around him, apparently. He better show up to at least one meeting, one Zoom.
Yep. Let's have a scene setting up this other scene that we then don't see, if I'm not mistaken, right? Doesn't Galadriel just... We don't see Halbrand and Galadriel and the Queen Regent have this meeting in the morning to decide.
No,
Right.
we only see
No,
Galadriel and
Galadriel
Halbrand,
convincing
where she's
Halbrand.
like, look, I put my reputation on the line. You got to come. And he's like, I don't want to.
Yeah. We see that scene and we have that line, sometimes to find the lights, we must first touch the darkness. And then he's like, oh yeah, what darkness have you seen?
Kelly.
Yeah,
Kelly,
that was,
hard.
that was,
She's been alive for 1,500 years, 2,000 years at this point. She's seen some darkness. Just give her the benefit of the doubt.
I really wanted to like this scene and I liked parts of the scene. And then I did not like that line. And I did not like her turning away I don't like that when people turn away to answer you, because it works on TV, but it doesn't work if you're imagining them talking to each other. Like I've never
Yeah.
turned my back on someone to answer them and then turned back around. It would have just been so much more tension and more like drama if they just faced each other the entire conversation. Maybe I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So there was a
Weird thing to
weird
do.
there was a weird staging and a weird filming of that scene that did strike me. I don't know if it was exactly that, but there was a weirdness to it.
I'm
Kelly,
just
I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this dialogue.
no, I mean, I think this I feel like I expressed this before. Maybe it wasn't on the podcast, but I just think a lot of the metaphors in this series are just very like juvenile sounding. And I think there's all this mention of light and dark and good and evil. It all just feels like very surface level and just kind of saying the same thing over and over. So I'm like sick of the metaphors, and I'm sick of all the this attempted kind of heightened language wordplay. I'm like, just say what the fuck you mean, and like let's move on.
Say what you
Like-
mean to say.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I
that one in
can't-
particular was like, oh my God, we know.
Like we've
Oh,
talked about
God.
some of the cringy dialogue in the movies too, right? Like there's cringy dialogue in the movies a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
But and some of it may be cringy in the dialogue that we don't even talk about, but it works because like the performances are so good. And and sometimes I wonder,
Even
if
at that
somebody
time,
else
not so much.
what's that?
Let's not forget the many episodes that we've spent discussing those movies and how bad some of the performances.
I know.
Even
Legolas.
our favorites have
It was
been.
Legolas. A
And
lot of
we've had-
Legolas.
we've-
Got a
we've
lot
talked
of
about Vigo
Yeah.
at times, but
Well, a
we
lot
give
of that
him the
was
doubt
just
because he
accent
stepped off the
work.
plane and was put to
Yes.
work.
Yeah, but I guess at least Vigo's shitty moments are funny versus like the shitty moments in this series are just like cringy and like
Vigo's shitty
embarrassing.
moments were him figuring out his voice. This was like poor writing.
Yeah.
I would just
I
say
don't
that
know.
we have 20 years of history with those other movies, and we also spent 5 years talking about the first two. So just go back and listen to some of the discussions that we've already had on
No.
those movies, because we ripped some things up.
I suspect all of us are right to a degree, to be diplomatic about it. But I also think like the movies just have better actors delivering dialogue, more like maybe equal dialogue, just more often, and so like they get away with it more. Whereas
You know
this
what we
show
have to do?
has a higher percentage of worse actors.
We have to get those actors to deliver these lines and put this and really settle this.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you
yeah.
had Sean Bean talking to Frodo and being like, Boromir talking to him, being like, sometimes to get through, what was the line? You got to touch.
Sometimes, yeah. Well, I mean,
to see
Gandalf.
the
I feel
light,
like
you have to
Gandalf had
touch the
said some-
darkness.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
Gandalf
feel like
had
that
said
would have worked. I think that would have worked. And I think Matt's probably right that it's just better actors.
And but also the way it's shot and the way you allow moments to
Yeah.
happen. It's like there's so much that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, I could concede to that there are more redeeming qualities surrounding some of the lesser moments in the movies that make them still pretty damn good. All right, so we'll move on. Yeah, they're heading off to war. Halbrand's armored up. Arian's sad. Galadriel got her shiny new armor.
Is she just sad because Isildur and her dad are going?
I think so. Yeah.
That's why.
And
Okay.
all her buds.
And because she doesn't support it, right?
Right.
So it's probably a mix of.
She's a hippie. She's anti-war. She's a dove.
Okay.
She doesn't want any parts of it. Isildur is on the ship and he's on stable sweep. Galadriel, I love that she gets this queen's welcome. Ben, elf on board. Shakes Halbrand's hand in that big moment. The only thing that was missing from this cheesy stuff here, and I enjoyed it, was like them embracing, doing the shake, and then like the crew going, yeah.
I will say I love a wartime shake like that. Like I love some wrist on wrist action. Like that always feels very strong.
Like grab.
Good.
Yeah, it was. I really.
Hashtag.
I am
Wrist
still
on wrist.
Wrist on wrist action.
waiting for them to hook up, and I think I might be one of the only people still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
If they're like hooking up, they're in bed. She wakes up and it's just like Sauron's eye. Just the eye. Just a flaming eye.
Smoking a cigarette.
Or she they,
Tricked
like,
ya.
They finish. She goes and she like is at the bathroom sink. Lifts up her head, looks in the mirror, and it's just Sauron's eye behind her.
In a towel.
I'm sorry about your brother.
But then she turns around and it's Halbrand again.
No, and I was gonna say the eyes like, did you? It was good, right? It was good, pretty good.
I can change bodies if that. I can pick a different body next time.
Mind if I stay? Yeah. And then he says, we head northeast. Well, met alas. Yeah.
Did anyone notice how like the sails on the ship were quite large and like on the side, like they kind of look like wings. And then in the distance, they had like that bridge that had like those arches. Yeah. I'm like, can those ships fit through that bridge?
I think they did that
bridge if they had a sign that said max clearance.
I think they did that on the way in. They like folded it.
They fold it in. Okay.
I think so. I thought the same thing though. I was like, just take your dinghy out beyond.
Yeah.
Load the ships there.
All right. Moving on to the Harfoots. How are we feeling?
Not bad.
Come to me.
Okay.
That song stuck in my head.
I really honestly loved that song with the maps and watching them in like different locations. That felt so good to me. I really loved that.
I enjoyed the vibes. I think the song, but like I enjoyed the vibes that it brought, and it was like pleasant. And I was like, this song feels a little Disney and modern, but like I'm going with it because like this is making me happy.
It was modern,
but the first time through. I thought it was really dumb. On the second time through, I really enjoyed it.
You thought the song was dumb?
I thought the song was dumb. I thought the way it was done was dumb. But the second time through, I it was like a 180. I really enjoyed it.
I really liked it, and I feel like we're getting more. Again, like this is one of the few things in the show where we find out more about these characters and this community without so much explanation or like quick dialogue. Like we're even learning more about like Poppy, her mother died, like in the last episode where they're talking about we walk with you or whatever. You saw her tear up when they mentioned someone, and then it's like, sing us the song of your mother. And it's like, we're finding out more about these characters in such a deep way. And I just really like that. Feels good.
Yeah.
I agree with Stacey. Like I thought this moment as a whole was kind of necessary. Like I think we've been waiting for a moment like this with the Harfoots. And yeah, the song, I think the vibe generally is there, but yeah, it's like super poppy. It's kind of like an evolution of when Pippin sang his like ballad during the Osgiliath montage. Mind you, I think that was like Tolkien. Yeah, he had like a to
Here
the
it is.
end. He had like a Christina Aguilera moment.
Why is he holding headphones to his ear?
Just make sure that note is. Yeah, that's what it feels like. And I feel like this is like an evolution. It wasn't that poppy, but it was like it was structured in a way that was so like clean. The like verse, chorus. And I think that's what made it feel like very contemporary. But generally, I thought this was a really, really nice sequence.
Why should your songs not be fit for my halls?
I love,
Yeah.
I loved the song, but I do
Mhm.
love good pop radio, so I didn't think too much about it.
Yeah, they go through.
I hope
apparently
Carly
rock-
Rae Jepsen does a cover for the end credits at some point. You know,
Now we're
Call me
talking.
Harfoots. They apparently Rockfoot Pass is blocked in, so they go through what is like these creepy woods, and there are wolves, and you have this. This is one of the things about the Harfoots that's so like contradictory. Nobody walks alone, but they are so quick to just leave people behind. Like, hey,
Yeah.
these woods haven't been disappeared in a while. It's gotta be them. Take their wheels and leave these bitches. Like, it's terrible. So
they're a
ridiculous.
brutal people. They really
Mhm.
are.
Yeah.
But that's how they've survived for thousands of years.
Yeah, the woods are bare and they're blaming the stranger. Take the wheels and leave them. And then you have that one who's like pulling off these it's like some sort of
Mushrooms,
fungus,
like tree
mushroomy
mushrooms. Yeah.
tree pizzelles. And then the stranger saves them from the wolves and gets hurt. Gets hurt.
Gets really bruised.
Bangs
He
up his
gets
arm.
hurt.
Contusions.
Yeah. At first, it looks like he throws the wolf and then he like takes a karate stance. He was
Yeah.
like,
He went
Yeah,
full
like-
Cobra Kai.
Like he's gonna like punch the wolf in the face. I'm like waiting for that moment.
He pointed his toe and he dragged a semicircle.
across this.
He
Yeah.
ties like a cloth around his eyes so he could just feel
Mhm.
with his senses where the wolves are coming from.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't
Wolf.
the thing on his arm. So that was he got bruised throwing the dog, whatever. It
No,
was.
he got bruised slamming his arm
dog.
into the ground.
Like he slammed his arm on the ground and then they like force fielded them back, and then his arm was all like purple.
Okay.
Mhm. And he looked surprised by that too. Like,
Right.
what? How?
That's
got
what I couldn't
hurt?
figure out. I was like, did that just happen, or yeah? I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, the one breakdown I saw described it as he reacted as if he was a wizard realizing that he's now an immortal body and
Right.
is fragile,
That's
is more fragile. Then he
But
goes
that-
into the
I mean,
cryo. Sorry. What?
Yeah, he goes into cryotherapy. He takes an ice bath. He's a little sore. I guess that makes sense, but then I also don't know how to rectify that with him being confused about the fireflies dying. And like, does
was
he understand he has power or does he not understand he has power? Is he confused by the way his power is on Earth? Is it different in where he's from? I don't really get what his confusion is, but
We're learning. We're
yeah, I'm
learning a little
learning
bit
along
more.
with him. I don't really have problems with it. I just am wondering.
Mm.
I find it to be kind of arduous. Like
Yeah.
in general, I think these kinds of dynamics really irritate me to kind of just watch someone like come into their own and come into this knowledge. I'm like, oh my God, just like know already. I think in general, this Harfoot storyline in this episode really bothered me because I felt like they were cutting right when something got interesting, they cut away to a different storyline. And I'm like, holy shit, just like let this Harfoot storyline breathe a little bit. And I felt that like we didn't have enough time with the Harfoots and we had way too much time in Numenor. Like that seemed very that was very off to me. So I wanted more. I wanted more Harfoot.
Same.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Yeah, I'm also kind of with you on the like it being a little arduous. Like I do kind of want Gandalf to just be figured out or whatever.
Matt doesn't like children, people figuring things out, anything that's helpless.
Dude, I don't either. I don't like those things either.
No, but I do. It is okay. Like I still am more interested in the stranger than some of the other characters, and I would rather watch the stranger and the Harfoots than some of the other plot lines for sure. But I'm with you on it being just a little bit like, okay, just like progress more already.
Yeah, there were some like really abrupt things in this, I think more than some other episodes, and especially like what was with those people finding where his body landed and looking at the camera, super creepy, and then it never came back to it again.
That's all we got from them.
That's it.
Hated that.
That was weird. Just put it in the next episode.
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought the placement of it was weird. But as far as
it was
scene,
like someone left it in by accident. They cut all the other parts out, and then they were like, "Shoot, we forgot one."
Forgot to move the trimmer.
That's how they edit these things these days.
It's all on one timeline.
Pinnacle Studios.
Wait, you liked Old Blue Eyes, Mike? You said.
Before we get to that, I just want to wrap up the other storyline here. So yeah, he goes into the cryo bath and he has the healing ice going up his arm, freezing everything, I guess getting it back to zero. And Nori is trying to get his attention, saying that I think that they're heading off or whatever. And she kind of grabs him and is immediately caught into the ice. And as it kind of lets up, it just kind of throws her back, and she gets a little shaken up. She looks a little shook because he goes to be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like,
"Well, why would you touch that?"
Yeah.
Like, don't touch that. It doesn't look welcoming or safe.
Looks unnatural.
Yeah, like is she I guess that she's a young girl and she's figuring it out. I shouldn't be so critical. I just don't get why she's so surprised. She's seen him do magic now on a couple of occasions. Like, is she surprised that he hurt her? Or like
it's kids.
These
kids are idiots.
I have a lot more patience for these storylines, I think, than you do. You guys would honestly hate my children because they just don't know shit.
Well, I think some of it goes back to their conversation earlier where talking about him being dangerous, him being a peril. And she's like, no, those things you did were an accident. They were an absolute accident. This could be viewed from her point of view as like on purpose. Like he did this to her. Right. So that could be what's going on there. So next episode is going to be probably trying to regain trust sort of deal. But the way that he left it was pretty ominous, where he's standing there and then you have the trees that are kind of like dark music and swaying in a little bit. Yeah. I like that. So again, they keep throwing some darkness into this character, which I enjoy. It makes it a little bit more fun.
Scary?
A little more scary. A little scary. So we're in Linden with Gil-galad, Durin, Elrond, and some other folks. Celebrimbor is there. They're at dinner talking about what they're doing. It's really what they was like, what are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing? You tell me what you're doing. I'll tell you what I'm doing.
What are you doing? No, you tell me what you're doing.
Tell me what you're doing.
What are you doing?
You want to mind my business? I'll mind your business. But tell me your business first. And that was the gist of that conversation. It's like neither of them wants to give up what the deal is. And the thing that annoyed me about this storyline is, you will 100% know from Elrond's reaction what the truth is. Just like, no, I promise I wouldn't tell.
Oh my God, Mike, I said that out loud at one point where they're like, did he find mithril? I swore on my life, I can't tell you what they're up to. I would have just been like, okay, I take that as a yes. So we're going to move on from that assumption.
Right. Yeah. Gil-galad puts his finger on his nose like, okay, I got you. I know.
I know what you're talking about.
You broke no promises.
Let's have like a really big, a really big Lucille-like wink.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing how that played out.
I think that I also had similar thoughts too, but it also made more sense once I was like, oh, well, just because he knows that there's mithril either way, like, is not good enough. He needs Elrond to persuade them to give them the mithril, because it doesn't seem like they're going to go to war with the dwarves over it. So it's like first step is just getting Elrond to trust him enough to be like, to concede that yes, there is mithril and I will help you, because just knowing that there's mithril isn't enough to execute on their plans.
How did you feel about the quick flashback? So we did get confirmation of what the Balrogs look like in this series.
Yeah.
And they look like they
good.
look like in the films. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked fantastic. And we'll probably see that again when it takes out Doran at some point. Maybe that's season 2, 3, who knows? But the origin of mithril was that there was an elf fighting a Balrog in a tree that is rumored to have one of the lost Cimmerils, and then a lightning bolt struck it based on like the powers of good and evil being forced into this thing, and it created the mithril going down, created the veins of mithril throughout the Misty Mountains. That's one of the things that apparently is setting off all the Tolkienites. I don't care, but there are people out there that do. But as the breakdown kind of goes into, this could also be bullshit within this world. This may not be a true story of how mithril came into existence, but in the real world, some people don't like it.
Why don't people like it?
They, from what I heard, so there are the 3 Cimmerils, but they in the books know where they are. Like they all are in certain locations, or were one, I think, was like thrown into the sea. So to say that one of them is in this tree is just
one was
weird.
Buried. Someone basically Golemed it into a fiery pit. One was thrown into the sea, as Carly said, and the other one was Erendiel, I think, like the star going.
Yeah, so this is I kind of like that aspect of the whole time I'm watching it. I'm like, the elves are going on a hunch. They're like, maybe if we bathe ourselves in mithril, they even say that. They're like, my best guess is if we get the elves enough of this, we can cloak them in the light of the Valar and we'll live. But it just seems so desperate. And I feel like I got the impression that they thought that maybe it still might not work, that this is just like a shot in the dark that they're taking. And I kind of like that. Like that feels really desperate and really like, oh, I know that even if we carry this through to completion, it still might not work.
Yeah, I don't really understand the plan.
I don't understand the threat. Like, I don't understand really what the threat to the elves is, aside from this one tree going black goo. Like what?
I'm sorry, so it's tied. They're in this world, and even in the movies, I think too, their life force is tied to the life of the realm of the earth, and as that decays and dies, their life force also diminishes.
Like they are not immortal anymore. They're not powerful anymore. I think they'll just kind of become human and die.
They'll become shadows that will drift away on the winds of time or something like that.
Elrond, yeah. Elrond is really starting to come into his own. He's getting a little extra in these scenes.
I'm loving this stuff with Elrond. I think the Elrond actor is giving the best performance.
Yeah, I like him
here.
They could not have found someone better who kind of just like smiles bemusedly at all of these antics going on without like he says so much and so little sometimes.
But like he also his earnestness feels true. Like when he is like, I can't, like I swore an oath to Durin, like really I thought great dialogue in that scene between him and King Gilgamesh. What's his name?
Gilgalad.
And I didn't like Gilgalad, the guy originally, but now I like him because I think it's like it's like good casting because you kind of hate him. Like he's got this like douchey air to him that I think for Gilgalad. And I really like their exchange. I thought the dinner scene was really good, even though it was like a just like nobody showing their cards kind of thing. I thought it was like a really fun and enjoyable scene. I was like sitting forward for this stuff. And I was like, there's really not much happening here. It's just a lot of interesting performances and half decent dialogue.
You know what was
And-
really cool about that too is Elrond like echoing Durin's point about time passing. Like he really like
Yeah.
gave it to the king back. Like even though he made that mistake, he was like, "Oh, 20 years might not seem like a lot to us, king, remember?" And he's like he's learning and he's growing, and I think that he's really putting an effort into like his friendship now, and I really like that.
Yeah.
This
he-
kind of made the episode for me. I was like, oh, I like this stuff.
At the dinner, he also tells the story of the table, how it's such a precious stone, and it's
Yeah.
reserved for dwarves for funerals and death and graduations or whatever the hell else he said. And then
Baptisms.
baptism, bar mitzvahs for those of the faith.
Wishes.
Yeah. And he at the end, when he's talking to Elrond as Gil-galad is up there with binoculars, like looking in, is talking about he's watching the elves carry off this thing and struggle with it. Like, you're gonna carry that like 1,000 miles. These 4 elves or whatever it was carrying this huge stone table. And he says, like, he's laughing at them as he's watching, and Elrond is just like, "You're fucking with us, aren't you? You made it up. You made it up. The whole thing." Yeah. And he said that Disa needs a new table. Yeah. I thought it was fun stuff. And I thought it was performed well and paced well, which is a problem for this show. Like, they step on their own jokes at times. They show their cards as far as what the comedy is going to be. So I thought this one was executed pretty well.
And I
of
really
course,
loved
Doran is on board with helping them out.
Yeah, I loved that. I mean, he really just like took it to heart. You could kind of see him on his face, like processing this information, and then it was like he was going to help.
Yeah,
that was so nice.
He was sticking it a little bit too. He's like, "So who is the only one that can do this? You can say the whole thing over again." Yeah, it was fun. All right, we'll move on to the Southlands. And we have, we already talked about it a little bit, but we have the people that find in the breakdown, they call them the cultists. So we have these, which I think that they kind of are too. They're probably people that are direct followers of Sauron and have been waiting his coming, and it's been foretold that, sort of shit. And they also seem to be somewhat magical too, because seemed like there was some hoodoo going on there a little bit. We have the moment where Adar is sunbathing, working on his tan, and I guess because apparently sun's going to be going away, as he says. Previously mentioned that probably is going to be the eruption of Mount Doom. And guess what? Tunnel's complete. Probably ahead of schedule too, and under budget, I bet. I thought it was a dick move for him to be like, "Give me your arm. Let me burn this shit."
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, summon the legions. It is time. Not this episode.
Lord
but
Father.
Yeah,
it's coming. The time.
it is time later.
About an hour and 20 minutes from now.
Next
like
Friday.
Last episode when we were like, we're leaving Numenor, and now it's like, no, after the next episode is when we'll really leave Numenor. Okay. All right.
Yeah, how many real quick like fake outs have we had of Galadriel leaving Numenor? It's been a couple. She like left, they brought her back. They got the boats ready.
Nicole came in. She's kind of checked out on the show now. She's only half watching. She came in. She's like, she's still here.
Yeah, you have Bronwyn giving a very, very inspirational speech, gets everybody on board, immediately loses half of them.
I can't. I am not.
Get your
I am trying so hard with Bronwyn as a character. I'm trying so hard, and I can't get on board with her. I don't understand why she's like the self-appointed head of state. I feel like no one really likes her. She's like a healer who I feel like was kind of outcast. I don't know why I think that. I
Because they
don't get
were
her
all like,
vibe.
calling her like elf lover and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
How are
nobody
they
liked
now
her.
following her and Arendir? Like, wouldn't they just be like, you two are like having an affair. We don't want anything to do with this. Like, I just don't get how there's any support for her at
I
all.
think like we were supposed to maybe believe, like, if I'm following the show's logic, maybe her convincing the town to leave after like bringing back the orc's head to like leave to go to the fort is like her beginning to be a leader, but it did not feel like that at all to me. And when she started giving that speech at the top of the fort, I was like, wait, what's going on? She's
Yeah.
a leader now? Like I
Same.
didn't read it all.
How is there not like some kind of like town elective representative to talk to the elves before now?
And no structure. Come on.
It also annoys me when someone who hasn't shown strong oratory skills otherwise suddenly knows how to like give an okay speech. I'm like,
hey,
okay,
you don't know what classes she took.
Yeah,
in
that was
school.
that was a very mediocre speech. That
It
did not
was-
rouse.
but I'm saying, but in relevance to her character, like we haven't seen anything like that. I think for someone who we don't expect that from, it's like, oh, it was commanding, it was confident, you know, like, but I don't know, we hadn't seen that before.
It just had
from her.
no staying power because like she got everybody on board, but then Waldreg came in and is like, "Fuck her, come with me."
And they're like, you know what? Yeah.
I was
He
like,
makes
you know
a
what?
good
Yeah.
point.
And
I
then
was like all in on that too. I was like, yeah, don't die. Don't die right now. Like go with Waldreg.
Go surrender to Sauron. Go serve
Yeah,
Sauron.
You're not gonna win. If you are Sauron. If not,
Play the odds.
I'm cool with you too.
Which I thought was great. I thought that was a really fun moment because they also play it like he still could be. Like he still could be. Because again, I'm going to refer to the breakdown that I watched, one of the breakdowns I watched again, and they talk about how in the books that Sauron doesn't use his name, doesn't really allow it to be said or written. So to have this person be like, yeah, we're going to follow Sauron. You know, what the, what?
What did you call me?
What you
What did
call
you
me by
call
my
me?
name? Call me by my name? Yeah.
Call me
So.
daddy.
Call me Orc Daddy.
Yeah, right. That's the Carly Rae Jepsen cover. So call me daddy.
Call me dad. If we don't get a Carly Rae Jepsen fan album out of the show, it's all for naught.
Yeah. And I also love that Waldreg drags half of the town with him immediately. And then he's like, oh, yeah, Theo, come on. Now's our
He's like literally being pulled by the crowd. He's like, "Oh, Theo, come. I'm out the door. Theo, can you see me?" And Theo's like not moving.
Like, shouldn't that
No
have
reaction.
been a critical part of his Waldreg's plan? Is to get Theo, who has the blade, magical sword, to come with them? But like, oh, the crowd's taking me away.
Stop! We have to go back.
So silly. It was really funny.
Yeah, so they all go and surrender to Adar. We have that moment where he's like, yeah, I will follow. Finally, the Lord has come, Sauron, and he gets his ass kicked. He's like, or whoever, you are not Sauron, maybe Sauron. I'll follow you.
Who would you say you are?
Yeah. Let's say for argument's sake, you're not Sauron. You're not the Dark Lord. What would we call you? And I'll follow that person. Yeah.
Literally at this point, anyone except for the elf and the elf lover, I'm on board with.
Yeah, anybody except that Bronwyn.
We have some
Bronwyn and Borendir.
Bore. So we have some archery practice. We have a little bit of bonding between Arendir and Theo. I enjoyed that. I like that scene with them. I thought we saw a little bit more emotion out of Arendir this episode. I thought that was cool. And we got some honesty out of Theo. Shows him the Morgul blade. And this blade is apparently depicted on the wall, which makes sense.
This is why you show the elf the blade sooner. Theo, you fucking idiot. These kids that don't know what they're doing, tell an adult.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out immediately and we can get on with it.
I also love that he's like, I've seen this before. And he says it with like the feeling he's going to go to a library and look through books. And he's like, nope, this huge monument behind me.
It's right.
4.5 feet away. I'm gonna reach out and brush some ivy off the wall. Where's our fucking gardener? He hasn't been here in about a decade.
Yeah. And it's being the sword on the wall is depicted as being thrust into someone.
Yeah.
So that's not good. And
I
it
don't
looks
get why
like,
this was so dramatic though. Like clearly that hilt was not good news to begin with.
I thought that maybe the significance of the statue, whatever, of the sculpture was like that the sword that's the sword that I don't know, brought like men to their knees and like made men serve Sauron.
Yeah.
And so that was like, oh, this is the device that the enemy needs to recruit men to its cause or something like that. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Stacey. I'm a little confused as to why it was treated with such drama, but that's my best guess.
Yeah,
And
I
that
also
was
think
the
that
reason
it could be the location. That this location itself is important, and they're all there. The sword is there. Theo has it. The picture on the wall. This Ascaleth. I can't remember the name of the town. It's something like that. So the location itself, they're in like ground zero for all of this bad shit.
Okay.
I think
This is where the battle happened, and like this, or this is where
I think this
started.
location itself may be very important, and the depiction on the wall is just like a model, a prophecy of what is to come.
Oh.
and this
slash
was
what
the
has
reason
happened.
Bronwyn like lost her mind and started yelling and trying to bend the knee.
Oh, to Sauron.
Like isn't this the reason she kind of lost her cool and was like, we're all gonna die here? And it was like, you just gave a speech 8 minutes ago.
Yes, that and the discussion with Arendir, where he's talking about because he finds it depicted on the wall, and he says it is a key to enslave the key that enslaved your ancestors. Our enemy knows your son has it, and he's coming. And she says, "How long?" And he's like, "I don't know, days, hours, could be minutes. They might be here." I think that's them. We should go.
And she's yelling like Aragorn to Legolas, like he's like, they cannot win this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone just turns and is watching.
Yeah. There's one, if you go back and watch, it is pretty funny. When Arendir says, there is a way. There must be. Because he says it as if there's another way. As if he knows what the plan, he has a plan. There is a way. There must be, right? it's funny.
There is a way.
There's a way. I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah, and she's like, yeah, we give up. We're done. Finished. Adios. And then they have that eureka moment where it's like, when they march upon us, this tower will fall. This tower will fall. Yeah. So I guess the tower's coming down. And that's going to do something.
I guess kill a lot of them. Kill a lot of the orcs, I guess.
I guess. They don't know how many there are, though.
Block a pass. It looked like it was could block a pass. A mountain pass.
Yeah, they can't get around.
Yeah, they gotta go around.
Closest one is Brendan.
I guess they would just dig.
Bridge, right? 20 miles.
Could just like start climbing the rocks that have fallen. They're like, oh shoot.
This is actually pretty nice. It's a good workout.
These are downstairs.
Yeah, I'm curious how that tower is going to come in. It's got to come down. Maybe it just
Kelly,
breaks
how
the
are
tunnel.
You feeling about Arendir?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm fine with Arendir. I don't know if it's because he's like the action star of this series. So I'm like, okay, I'm like with you just to like see what you do. But I actually think that his performance is fine. Like I guess I don't find him that boring or intolerable. I don't care too much for Bronwyn. I'm definitely like, I feel like her character development is just lacking. I guess you could say that about a lot of characters, but I'm kind of there for Arondir. I think he's slowly, glacially coming out of his shell, his elf shell.
Good for you, Aaron, dear. The one thing we forgot to mention is during the moments with Waldreg pledging his allegiance to whoever steps in front of him, is the fact that Adar grabs Theo's friend who deserted him at the drop of a hat. And I guess we assumed that he killed him. He's like, you can't just say, anybody can just say they pledge their loyalty, but you got to fucking pledge your loyalty here. And he's like, here, take this sword, kill this kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
he's
wild
dead.
for a couple reasons. Does everyone need to find someone to kill? If so,
They all
that
just
would
keep
cut the
stabbing
army
him
by
like
half.
Jon Snow and the Night's
Yeah,
Watch.
and in many later years, we just see the guy from the hill just cut his own hand. That feels good for me.
That's all
Yeah.
I need.
This
This is it's blood. It's blood. It's a pinky promise. I mean, that I would have accepted that, but
Maybe
Oh,
because
speaking of-
Waldreg was like so hot to join. He's like, this guy is coming in like so hot. Let's
So
make him
strong.
do something
Yeah,
really violent.
it's all talk.
I liked the setup of it though. Like I liked the darkness that it brought and the kind of like authentic, like scary, sad stakes, like true, like evil shit was potentially getting brought out. But the fact that they cut away, I definitely do think he's
You just want to see a kid
dead.
get killed.
But I also, this show hasn't earned my trust enough where I'm like, he could be alive and they're
I
just
feel
gonna
like there was like a killy sound. There was like kind of like a squash. Yeah. Right when it cut.
right, but maybe he killed the orc and maybe he took a
Stabbed a
I don't
pumpkin.
know.
Tomato.
no, Waldreg was so thirsty for Adar, whoever Adar was. There's no way he's not killing that kid.
Yeah.
He's
He
dead.
wanted to kill for daddy.
He's dead.
dead.
I you don't maybe have to show the kid the kid being killed, that, or like you could maybe do it in some ways that it's like not like, oh Jesus, but like it really breaks your heart. But I also would have been really curious to see the reaction of the crowd, of the people that followed Waldreg. Like I want to know how they felt. Maybe we'll learn, but in that moment I'm like, is this crossing a line for anybody in this crowd?
sounded like it.
Everybody just as crazy as fucking Waldreg
I think there
is.
were some gasps and sounds of disapproval.
Did that
Yeah.
kid like not have a family? Like that's so sad.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
He's
don't
just Theo's friend.
I guess
friend.
I assume he's killed because if he wasn't, it would be so weird to then cut back to that situation and he's just like alive getting a pail of water from a well. Like I just don't know cinematically
water.
how you do that in a way that doesn't like, I don't know. That's like,
Yeah,
wearing
like
an eye
Waldreg,
patch.
Waldreg comes up next to him and he's like, things got a little carried
Yeah.
away back there.
We
Well,
Sorry
thanks
for
for
what
not
happened.
stabbing me in the heart. Yeah.
Sorry for
both stab things we regret.
But it could happen. I also kind of don't
He's dead.
trust the moves of this show. So
He's
we'll see.
dead. I was going to say earlier when Stacey was talking about the hill guy, the hill people, that we did get mentioned from Nori earlier when she was talking about the perils. Well, there's hill trolls, there's cave trolls, there's this troll, there's that troll.
yeah. There's a lot of trolls, guys.
There's a lot-
Cave
yeah.
trolls, hill trolls, snow trolls, probably desert trolls, water trolls.
Eye trolls.
I would love to see a water troll.
I would love an aquatic troll, maybe one that's developed fins.
Like
Ugh.
a giant creature from the Black Lagoon.
A manatee.
Yeah.
We're talking about manatees.
Yeah.
So they just have
Yeah.
one fin. They're just like trying to like stand up on like one mermaid tail.
Oh.
All right, winners and losers, and then we're out of here. Let's start with the losers. Stacey.
Bronwyn. she had a captive audience. She got 50%, and then she immediately recanted and tried to join
Yeah, what a
the
quick turn.
defectors. She just had nothing going for her in this episode.
Yeah, loses them immediately. It's like, hey guys, wait up.
But I'm not
Right behind
done.
you.
Are we stabbing that guy? I'll stab that guy.
Yeah, use my knife. Kelly.
I was also
Loser.
going to say Bronwyn, but to throw out someone different, I think Elrond is my loser for this episode. I feel like he's caught in a very difficult situation between the elves and the dwarves. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him. So feeling for him in this episode.
Yeah. Matt.
The other character who is totally goddamn useless. And
Kevin.
Get out of here, Kevin. Come on down and get the fuck out. We're tired of you.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the kid who got stabbed and is most likely dead as my loser because, he
Good pick.
was so scared of the orcs that he left his friend and now he's going to all the orcs and he got killed.
Yeah. Plus, we can't even remember his name.
Yeah, the kid that got stabbed. IMDb probably listed as
Rowan?
such.
Was it
It's
Rowan?
something with an R. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sounds
that's
like
Rowan. Yeah.
And our winners, Kelly.
My winner for this episode is Isildur, who they call Isil. He got a
Call him
spot.
Izzy.
Can see.
He got a spot on the ship, which is what he wanted. He did save Kemen's life, although debatable choice, if you ask me. Debatable choice, babe. Yeah, I just think it was his dad was talking about how he kind of, needed more character. He kind of lacked character, and I think this was a very character building episode for him.
Yeah, Matt.
Kelly's loser is my winner because Elrond has really got me engaged in the show, and I'm really invested in Elrond more than anybody else right now. So big thanks to Elrond, and I guess more so it's the actor playing Elrond. Good.
Yeah. Stacy.
I guess I'll say Isildur's friend who made lieutenant.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Valvoline? No, not Valvoline.
Vaseline, Valendier or something.
Yeah.
Viagra.
Venezuela.
Yeah, because he shouldn't have been dismissed. He wanted to take control of a boat. He sword fought. He got lieutenant. Proud of him.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yep. All good.
Sure.
All good. I'm going with Galadriel on this one. She got her army. She peer pressured
army.
Yeah, her her army of union workers, and she got Halbrand. She peer pressured Halbrand into going after his legacy, and she's got Elendil commanding things, and the Queen. Queen's on board. Literally, the Queen is coming with her on this expedition, and it is the first elven human expedition in probably 1,000 years or more.
So she got cool new armor.
She's got cool new armor. Yeah. Tailored
looking sharp.
I would have loved to see the scenes where they're taking her measurements. And they're making Galadriel sit still, measuring her arm, her just looking so mad. So mad.
I do think this series lacks montages.
Yeah.
Yeah, could use a little more.
That's why the whole Harfoot montage was nice.
Yeah.
It was much needed.
We need more.
Covers a lot.
I can't wait. I hope the next episode is just Gandalf trying different powers in a montage.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, a little training montage. Yeah.
Montages. Yeah, sorry, Mike. Wrap it up. Go.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
These
You know what?
bits
It's
are
fine.
not
I
worth
just
it.
wanted to ask if the music was good or if it was just loud this episode, and it's fine. We can move on.
I enjoyed it. All right. That'll do it for this episode of The Beacons Are Lit, covering This Power Season 1, Episode 5, Partings. I've been Mike Marbeck. Thank you, Matt Garrett, Kelly Conrad, Stacey Lyons, our fellowship, and thank you all for listening. Bye.